War II. It's kind of a brain dump. What you're going to do is you're going to take out your phone. You don't actually have to take the picture, but go to your camera, zoom in on the little QR code, and it's going to take you to Padlet. What you do from there is you're going to write 7 things that you know about World War II. You can use the information that you have from last week or prior knowledge, whatever comes to your mind, that's absolutely fine, okay? So, if you need some assistance, wait for more Padlets to start showing up. You'll be able to see what other people are responding, and then maybe that'll help incite some other thoughts that you may have. So, go ahead, look through your vocab that you did last week. You can also slightly reference, the papers you got today, so you don't have to worry too much about that either. But mainly just try and dump as much as you can, okay? And once everybody's situated, I'm going to go ahead and move it to the Padlet screen, so that way we can go ahead and see what people are responding to already. Sound good? Yeah. So is everybody into Padlet? Need to wait a few more seconds? Again, if you want to work with her so that way. You can if you want. You don't have to. Yes, sir.
What is it? Oh, hey.
All right, so everybody has. Does everybody have the QR code? No? 3 more seconds.
So all of that is going to be on the weekly page. So you can focus in on that. This is going to go right here. And that is, but what we're really going to want to focus on is the next 2 pages, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Somebody wrote
Oh, so they must know all about it. I'm excited. Okay. Everybody has the Padlet? Am I good to switch over? So that you can give a lot of good information, right?
Yeah, am I pretty bored? I love bored.
Oh yeah, you guys are giving great
Can
answers.
you give me a musket?
So, awesome start. Guys. So we're just going to listen right now. Got us out of the Great Depression. Germany was crazy. I don't know if Germany, the country itself, was crazy, but who was crazy in that country? Hitler, absolutely. So Hitler killed a lot of people, and he was bad. Absolutely. Hitler, Jew, Holocaust, bombed Hiroshima, Nagasaki, mean guy. Absolutely, Carl. So somebody created a story. That's pretty interesting. All right. Hitler needed someone to blame for the cause of Germany's decline, so he blamed the Jews. Absolutely fantastic answer. So, America joined due to the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Oh, I lost it. There we go. By the Japanese. Germany was on the rise as Hitler took power and made, oh my goodness, you guys are giving so many good answers. And made big promises, democracy versus dictatorship. It brought the U.S. out of the Depression, Allies versus Central Powers. Allies won. Nazis equal fascists. Absolutely, Adam. Great response.
Are we supposed to do right now?
Yes, you can. So a lot of good responses. Are there any that I'm missing that you guys? Ooh, someone changed their color. Okay. Appeasement. Whoever wrote appeasement, do you know what appeasement means?
Yes, I know what appeasement is.
What is appeasement?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know, but you wrote
Yes,
it?
I do know. It's when you give someone something when you're trying to.
Guys, shh. Brandon's giving a response. Yes, sir.
It's when you're trying to give something to someone, you're trying to stop someone from doing something by giving them what they want.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Let's go, Brent.
D-Day. The story. Gas chamber. Absolutely.
Action is
Guys, come on now.
Wait, what is
The long thing was.
Alright, so although you may be correct in your statements, you don't need to put them in certain ways. It's very offensive, especially if people are, Jewish in this class. How would you like it if somebody said, your faith was gassed up? Not a very good way to put things, so let's make sure we're
What's the
defending.
Barry Allen one?
Alright, if you have something you'd like to say, you can raise your hand. But again, be sensitive to other people's religions. You don't need to put it in any sort of way. So, Britain used appeasement to keep Hitler happy, absolutely. The swastika was a symbol of peace until Hitler stole it. Not a very known fact, but absolutely. The swastika was actually Native American. I like Malachi, good stuff. Allies versus Axis, the Holocaust, internment camps, Adolf Hitler, Jews, Nazi regiments. Great answers. These are fantastic answers. So it seems like you guys know a lot about it. I know you guys did learn about it in 7th grade as well. We're going to learn even more detail and focus a little more on the U.S. as well. Today's going to be a really good overview though. Yes, sir? Do what?
Quarter 3 reconstruction
Alright. So we are going to move on from the awesome answers. Guys, come on now. Before we go any further, does anybody have any good things from the weekend that they wish to share? Malachi, start your hand first.
So my aunt found out that her doll is pregnant.
That's awesome! Congratulations. Elliot.
On band trip, went to see it and saw
Fantastic. So again, I know that was probably Adam's good thing as well. They got to meet Carl Lazus. I think there were Snapchats posted because somehow word got back to us very quickly. So I think that's awesome.
How'd y'all do that?
Like we were just seeing it, and like we walked out, and then we walked. Apparently Carl Zeus, he comes out like around 1 o'clock or something to talk to people that are waiting to talk to him, I guess, or something. But like then I got a high five, so I'm pretty happy.
Wow.
Let's go.
That's awesome. Perfect timing. Brandon, did you have something good?
No, you should have thanked Carl because he has to do that thing every single day.
Exactly.
He has to do it correctly, and he has to. He probably doesn't rehearse, but he's a good man. He has to do it every single day without rehearsal.
I think it's awesome. There was this other school, and they were like telling Carl, like, as like, no.
Too much? Too much? You got something good? What's your good thing? You want to finish chewing?
I got you.
Okay.
We got no school on Friday, and I get to go home.
What?
Well, I get to binge watch. On my block.
There you go. Yeah, no school on Friday. This Friday there is a teacher work day, so you don't have to worry about it. Oh, I have to come.
What did
But I
you do?
get, so, as I say, teacher work days, you come in an hour later. Since I'm a student teacher, the teacher part kind of takes over on that one.
You're a teacher
Alright, did you have something good?
Yeah. What did you?
What's your good thing?
I went to a little music concert.
Interesting. Say, I don't know who that is, but I hope you had fun.
You gotta listen to Polo.
Well,
Alright, heard. Any other good things? I think I saw a hand over here. Did you have a good thing? No. Corey?
Oh, I saw Us yesterday.
Us?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks so good. I do want to see that.
It was actually really bad. It's not
Really?
good.
Wasn't good?
No.
There's only like
I've heard people say great things about it.
there was only like 3 killings.
And that's what made it bad.
He likes killing
I'm going on
movies,
Saturday.
I guess.
Alright, Sydney.
I just have a question. What's the end of the quarter?
End of the quarter
Thursday.
Tomorrow.
Whoa.
So that quarter, the quarter exam was like the last thing that you will do for quarter 3. Everything now that you are doing is going to be for quarter 4. If you want to interject, you can. Okay. Alright, so moving on, today what we're going to do, if you haven't already glued them into your notebooks, we're going to start with the Rise of Dictators reading, and then move into the Rise of Dictators chart. So they're going to go on pages 171 and 172, the rise of dictators in the chart. And then following that will be the next reading, which is the brown shirt, black shirt reading, and then the brown shirt, black shirt chart. So I'll give you about a minute to go ahead and glue that stuff in if you haven't already. And since we're moving into quarter 4 and you guys are getting pretty good about knowing how to annotate on your own, we will read it together. However, we will discuss each paragraph, but in general, it's going to be up to you to highlight and annotate what you see fit. You will notice there are, it's not there yet, but there are bold words, and those bold words are kind of to help guide you through it. So, as you'll see, those are going to be there to help you, but in the end, it's going to be what you want to end up highlighting and what you think is important, okay? Malachi? Yes. So you have that reading, Rise of Militarism and Dictators on 171, and 172 is that chart.
Black shirts and brown shirts.
Mm-hmm.
What about this reading?
So the,
Okay, so this one is. No, you're fine. Total car. Absolutely. Alright, so another 30 seconds. Finish gluing in. If you haven't glued it in or want to wait, I totally understand that. Sometimes when you glue it in, it can wrinkle your paper and make writing difficult. So after this one, it's gonna go. The only problem is you're gonna want these on the same page. Unless you want to constantly flipping back. Alright, so hopefully you have them glued in. If you haven't already, don't worry about it at this moment in time. So what we're gonna do now, do I have volunteers to read? But remember, you're annotating at your own pace, okay? So I have a volunteer for paragraph 1 with Brandon, a volunteer for paragraph 2, Malachi, paragraph 3. Anybody? I can read too, so don't worry. I'll read paragraph 3, and anybody for paragraph 4? Alright, Aiden, you got paragraph 4. So, without further ado, after each paragraph again, we're going to take a pause. We're going to take a pause and talk about it so that way we know what is important, and if you have not already highlighted and annotated, you can go ahead and do that then. So, without further ado, Brandon, take us away with paragraph 1. You're good.
At the end of World War I, most of Europe was interned. On November 11, 1918, veterans, the nations and the Central Powers surrendered and signed the armistice. Nations of the world wanted to prevent another large-scale war from happening. The Treaty of Versailles, signed on June 28, 1919, and was enforced harsh punishments and reparations on Germany. A league of nations was formed to maintain what peace, but failed to accomplish partially because of U.S. involvement.
Alright, so that was more of a recap for us. What were some of the important details that you guys highlighted? Lily.
That Germany was punished because, like, we know that that leads to World War II kind of.
Absolutely. So she's already thinking ahead, and she knows that when Germany gets punished, it's going to end up leading to World War II, because who gets really frustrated by the fact that Germany's punished?
Germany, Hitler, poor.
Germany, because they're poor, and Hitler too, and he's going to take advantage of that and be like, listen, I'm going to help us, but we have to blame somebody. Absolutely. Any other important things that you guys picked up on, Malachi?
The nations of the world wanted to prevent another world still working on it, but it's still happening.
So, yes, they wanted to try and prevent it. Exactly. Do you guys know what an armistice is? So, think about it this way, too.
They don't fight each other.
They don't fight each other. So, if you think of the root word arm, when you're thinking about war, what are you thinking about?
White flag.
Like guns, exactly. So, an armistice is kind of like the white flag. You're kind of like, you know what, we're going to call it peace. We're laying down our arms. So, an armistice is laying down of arms, ending the war. Alright, so, paragraph 2. Malachi, make sure you're speaking a little bit loud so we can hear you, okay?
Okay. The 1920s in the United States saw an era of prosperity and fun. In the Eastern Hemisphere, this was not the case. Germany was in a great depression after World War I. They were embarrassed and saddled with ordeal. The economy saw a lot of inflation, money littered, food at zero value. The Nazi Party began to rise to power and became threatening Jews during this current situation. Italy also lost its fair share at the end of the Great War, and this gave rise to Benito Mussolini, and the fascist party. He promised to restore Italy to the glory of the Roman Empire. Mussolini was elected by the people as prime minister and soon declared himself dictator of Italy. In Russia, the Bolsheviks had overthrown the Russian government and created the Communist Soviet Union. After Vladimir Lenin's death in 1924, Joseph Stalin became the Soviet dictator. His plan was for the government to focus on establishing regional policy. Finally, in Japan,
Military. Oh, Millerus, yeah.
Miller's under began exerting Japan's power in the sea. Japan was given control of Pacific areas, formerly controlled by Germany, and given to total power by China. Japan was seen economically thanks to globalization.
Alright, so a lot happened in that paragraph. Who is suffering at this point in time?
Jews.
Eastern Europe. So you've got Germany who's suffering. Who else?
Austria,
So yeah, they're suffering too at this point, but I'm thinking more Italy and then
Austria.
Russia. Yes, Russia as well. So who out of the 4 on the other page are actually prospering that they mentioned? Japan. And how is Japan prospering right now?
Getting control.
They're getting control of other places and industrialization. So too, if you think about Japan, just thinking geographically speaking, how big is Japan?
It's like an island.
It's like an island. It's small. So they're trying to exert this power. What are they going to want to do?
Take over Ireland.
Take over other islands. They're going to start invading bigger places. They got a little taste. Exactly. They got a little taste of territory from what Germany had, and now they're like, oh, it's time to go. It's time,
Underdogs.
it's time to start invading places. Absolutely. All right. So paragraph 3, Thomas.
Wait, I have a question.
Oh, you have a question?
Wouldn't Jews be considered fallen? Like they're being blamed for something?
They were fallen.
Like, they're not blamed for it because like they were like losing people for no reason.
So eventually, yes. I mean,
I
they,
didn't know the word.
like they were blamed. So yeah. I think terminology is fine. That works. Yeah. So moving on to paragraph 3.
Then in the 1930s, the Great Depression hit the United States and its effects on felt on law. Germany's reeling from its own depression saw the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. Hitler promised a powerful Germany and a return to glory for his people. While in prison in the late 1940s, he wrote Mein
power quickly. Throughout the 1930s, Germany violated the Treaty of Versailles and began raising an army and taking over other nations. Italy started invading territories in Africa, including Ethiopia and Albania. In the Soviet Union, Stalin's 5-year plan to industrialize was in full effect. The street police patrol and began the Great Purge, in which hundreds of thousands of people were executed or sent to labor camps, known as gulags. Japan had invaded China for coal and iron, and invaded Korea and sugar.
So again, a lot happened then too. So we have the Roaring 20s, you know, for the United States, and then what happens, you know, in the 1930s? The Great Depression, and yes, actually there was a purge in Russia. It was real, like it was insane. You could literally be on the street minding your own business, and these street police could come up and be like, you know what, it's too much. We've got to eradicate some people. I'm just gonna kill you.
Wait,
So
how long did it last for?
I don't know the exact time it lasts for, but I definitely think it was more than 12 hours. And if you think about it too, so the big numbers, you know, Hitler was responsible for killing 6 million Jews. In Russia, Stalin was responsible for killing like 24 million people in his own country.
But it was like,
All
wasn't
crime
like
was illegal.
like a racist.
I don't know if it was just the purge, but the purge did have a lot to do with it, as well as the gulags.
It was less focused on because it wasn't like a racist.
Exactly. So they didn't give as much attention to it because of the fact that like he wasn't necessarily
He was just killing
targeting.
everyone.
He wasn't targeting a specific
like
group of
race or
people.
ethnicity.
Absolutely. You got something you want to share, Ian? No. I was gonna say because like I couldn't hear you. So if you
Oh no,
wanna-
I was just saying if I was to do that, like, I would kill, not be killed.
He would kill my.
I mean,
That's the
honestly,
point.
it's,
Yeah, exactly.
But
Honestly,
sometimes you don't really know if they're gonna try and kill you at any certain
Well,
time.
that's
So
what Farmer was.
push
Honestly,
in the situation.
it sounded like he was doing it for
Guys, remember if you want to make a comment, raise your hand, please. Yes, Malachi.
He sounded like he was just doing it for no reason.
Kind of doing it for no reason. Was there a reason? I think he had some motive.
Overpopulation.
Overpopulation, poverty.
You had to get rid of.
Maybe they.
Again,
I mean, it's pretty much the plot line of that movie, The Purge.
Yeah.
there you go. All right. So again, too, we see the rise of Adolf Hitler in the 1930s. Who does he start blaming?
The Jews.
The Jews. He calls them a parasite of German society. I think that's pretty intense, but he literally says that.
Mein Kampf is my struggle, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, so moving on to paragraph 4. To have. Yes, ma'am.
Why did he choose the Jews?
They're an easy target.
So, Jews have been blamed for years on years on years for the problems that have been happening. That's a really good question too. So keep that in the back of your head because you'll have a project eventually, and that question might like really set things up for your project. But they were blamed for a lot of things going on, and they were blamed back in ancient times. Like they were the easily targeted people as well. So if you're gonna blame somebody, blame the Jews. That's what their thing was. Yes, sir.
Stalin killed like baby.
I don't know the
Probably.
details, but I would not be surprised if he did. Yes, sir.
So like, didn't you like not only target Jews, didn't you just like target people who are like mentally ill, and like you like targeted people that are mentally ill and like they.
Absolutely. So he basically targeted anybody who was not of the supreme race, which was blonde hair and blue eyes. If you had and white skin, if you had, you know, a mental disability, if you, you know, were mixed, he did not like black people, as we saw in that video. He literally said the worst thing America did was freeing the slaves. So clearly he thinks they're inferior, and you know, we beat them though, so it's whatever. But yes, ma'am. So, hey, good point. She literally just made something that is so true. She said, wasn't Hitler mentally ill himself? I mean, honestly,
No, he killed himself.
Yeah, because he knew he was dead. He was shot.
all I can say is anybody in their right mind would not have done what Hitler
Did
did.
Hitler have a dog? Like,
I don't know about that.
it was like,
Like, I would not be surprised.
Alright, we
Just
still
having a
have
bad
other
day.
stuff we gotta do today, so we are going to move on, okay? So, last paragraph.
I think you
Oh,
said
World War II began on September 1st, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. In 1940, Germany formed alliances with Italy and Japan, and the Axis powers were formed. Germany signed a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union so that they could invade Poland, and the Soviets began invading Eastern Europe. Japan continued invading Asian nations, including Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. In response, the U.S. placed an oil embargo on Japan, which would anger them enough to later attack the U.S.
Alright, and what was that later anger attack?
Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor, yes.
We did.
So what's an oil embargo?
It's when
It's
they
when-
are-
it's when
Hold on, raise your hand. Yes, Walker.
It's when like you cancel trade or like you don't trade with
Exactly. So specifically, they targeted it for oil because what is such a precious resource at this time? Oil. It literally runs a lot of machines right now, and of course, Japan's going to want access to that. So exactly, they're getting ready to start a war. They're invading other countries. Like, of course, they need oil to invade other countries. How else are they going to go over there? All right. So now, since you have highlighted and annotated, we are going to move on to the rise of militarism and dictators chart. So what you're going to do, like starting with Germany, I'm going to give you an example. So it says in the 1920s, what formed in the 1920s?
Nazi Party.
So the Nazi Party. And so you're going to go through kind of similar to how we just did. Read what's important from Germany and what they did and how this started to impact everything. So as you continue to read, the Nazi Party began to rise and started blaming who? The Jews, so you can put blame on Jews, that kind of thing. And you're going to do that throughout the entire reading for each category, okay? Sound good? So you're going to have about the next, I would say, 7 to 10 minutes. 7 minutes, I think you guys did a great job, so I think your highlighting and annotating should take you through. So go ahead, fill out the rest of this chart, and then we'll move on shortly, okay? Sound good? Yes, ma'am?
Yeah.
USSR, that is going to be Russia. The Soviet Union. Yes. There you go. And again, so take advantage of your placement. You are placed in groups. Work with your groups. It will help you move a lot faster.
Wasn't the whole reason that like this word
It's possible. I don't know.
I saw that I
I mean, that's a good question, too. Keep that question back there.
he got to survive. That's where and he like went to this
Interesting. I think that's definitely. All right.